All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Ask Nicely, hosted by me, where I'm going to sit down with my new friends and old friends, and we're going to talk about a lot of things. But today, we're going to talk about singing, still in the topic of singing. And I am more than honored to be chatting tonight, because it's nighttime where I am, to be chatting tonight with the one and only Lyanna Austin from the UK. She's wonderful, and you're going to get to see just why I think she's wonderful. So I'm just going to call her in and we will start this chat. So hang on to your seats while I call her in. Awesome. She should be joining us shortly. So yes, she is from the UK and she is here.
Hello.
Oh my gosh.
Just trying to make sure this is all
Hello.
good. Can you
Hey,
see my good
Lyanna.
side?
Yes, this
Oh,
is your good side.
this is close, guys. This is
I
close.
know. Adjust yourself.
Hmm.
Adjust yourself. I have my tea because
I should have got tea.
it's, yeah, it's good. It's good to have tea right now. But Lyanna, thank you so much for joining.
Of
I'm so
course.
honored that you would chat with me.
Anything for you, Fina.
Yes, if you don't know, Lyanna is an amazing singer, songwriter, vocal teacher, project manager, She is a Renaissance woman. Okay, if there's
Oh,
a definition for Renaissance woman, Lyanna is one of those people,
okay,
and she
Fina.
hails from the United Kingdom.
I do.
So she's very British in her ways, which I love.
Come
I
on.
love so much, and also like a sprinkle of gospel. So like that's perfect, right?
Let's do it. I love
So
that.
anyway, everyone, this is Lyanna Austin. Welcome. So good to have you. And
Hmm.
Lyanna and we're basically kindred spirits here.
Yes.
We're doing ministry school together, and we're doing more than ministry school together. We're doing a lot of things that are singing related, choir related, gospel related, and it's been so fun to be
Yeah.
partnering with her and just moving forward with the vision that the leaders have imparted to us, and to see diversity in expressions of worship and all the things which we'll talk about, in this chat. But we do want to get to know you better as a
Mm,
singer, because
okay.
this is what we want to talk about. And it's like the behind the scenes. Okay, so what do singers experience? How do
Hmm.
they process, and how do
Hmm.
they prepare, and all these things? And I think it's nice to have a behind the scenes look at how singers prepare for projects and things like that, and their
Yeah.
journey. So I would love for you to start with your journey of singing. Was that incidental, accidental?
Hmm.
How did
Yeah.
it happen?
Okay, so first of all, I want to say this is like my first live.
No way.
It's like my first kind of interview live, so
No
I'm just
way.
happy to be here.
Okay, it's about
um,
time, girl.
Come on, I gotta get used to this. Um,
Yes, you
so
better.
so the question is, how did I get into singing? Um,
Yes.
so basically, I have a sister, Lynette Austin, and she was kind of doing BVGs for a really popular band. So she was
Okay.
singing her whole life. And so when I
BGVs,
grew
right?
up, yeah, BG. So in the UK we call it
You
BVs.
say BVs, yes.
In America we say BVG, background, I don't know, backing
BGVs.
vocals, I don't know, whatever.
You
So
say back vocals ground. That's what you're saying.
so
BVGs.
what
It's all
she
right.
what she did was kind of she went to drama school and was really creative, amazing singer.
Yeah.
And then she had an amazing opportunity to be BVGs for a really amazing pop band
Okay.
in the
How old were
UK.
you at this point?
So I was like, I think, I guess, so I loved singing from a young age, like four. I remember singing at age 4. But
Yes.
when I
Yes.
really got into it is watching her, age 6, 7, 8,
Oh,
going,
wow.
she would take me sometimes to the concerts. And
Okay.
so I'd go backstage and just experiencing like a live performance at that age
Yes.
was like,
Yeah.
I was like, that's what I want to do. This is what I want to
Yeah.
be. And it was, she was such an idol for me growing up, really
Yeah.
wanting to be like her, to sound
Yeah.
like her, to do what she was doing, to see that you can
Wow.
actually have a career, even just the music and do what you love. And so I
Yeah.
watched that growing up.
Yeah.
Her, you know, going to drama school when she was growing up. Like, so I was born quite late. She was about 15 when I was born, but she was, you know, doing college and all these things. And I just watched her grow and watched her just be like high excellent singer. And so then I remember going to drama school and playing piano at age like 9, drama school for years, singing at church. I was in the worship team when I was 12.
Wow.
Listening to my dad sing along to like old school tunes and like being like, I can copy that, I can do that, I want to sing like that. Just being really like, you know, really excited about music from a young age. And then I remember, I'll never forget, it was in elementary school and I had to do I got a solo part because my teachers were like, oh, Lyanna can sing.
She can
and
sing.
I got to do I can show you a whole new world, right?
Okay.
But I got not Jasmine's part, I got Aladdin's part. I was upset. I was like,
why?
What do you mean? Because I wanted Jasmine's part, man.
Yes.
Because there was no guys that could sing, so it was between me and this other girl. And so I got
goodness.
Jasmine's part and I got Aladdin's part. But I killed it. I remember killing it. And then my sister was there, my mom and dad were there. It was just amazing. So from a young age, I just really loved music and I was surrounded by excellence, high excellence in church. Church was a massive influence. Massive influence. And
were you a pastor's kid?
No.
Okay.
I wasn't a pastor's kid, but I got dragged to church every week, man.
Yes.
Like, it is
almost
what it is.
A pastor's kid.
Yeah, almost. Church was a big influence as well. And then, joining the worship team, age 12, and thrown into 3-part harmony straight away. Like
age 12, like with a microphone already?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's something. I didn't even learn harmonies at that age. Harmonies was later. Wow. Fire! And I love that. I love that you got the exposure, you know, way before when you were little. And I think that's one thing that this is always a debate in my head. Like when you have kids, do you make your kids do music or not? Do you force them or do you not? But I feel like what you've described, being exposed to the festivals, the singing, and just, you know, creating like inspiration, like, oh, I want to be like that. You know, I think that's a main motivator of wanting to learn music and wanting to pursue it. Because, you know, if you've never exposed to it and all you know is just, you know, practice, it can be really dull very quickly. But if you see it, you know, the final product, like, oh, I'm going to sing in front of people or I'm going to play in front of people. And the excitement is different, I bet, with you as a little girl experiencing with your older sister.
100%. And I remember she took me to, at age 8, she took me to a studio, and it was we did a song for Cartoon Network for a little show called The Dodo Show.
Okay.
And I got to do like the kids' voice on it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a superstar! Like it was so funny. It was so funny, just being like, wow, this world is real, and like
and you like it, and I enjoy it.
Yeah,
awesome.
I fit in. Yeah.
So what kind of
my upbringing?
Yeah, speaking of upbringing, what kind of music did you listen to growing up? What were you allowed to listen to? And then, you know.
That's a good question. So a lot of gospel music, you know.
Okay.
A lot of, because my mom is from Jamaica and my dad is from Barbados, so we'd listen to a lot of soca music, a lot of reggae music.
Yes.
And my dad was a lover of soul music, so he would play Teddy Pendergrass and just loads of different cats like Marvin Gaye and The Temptations, you know, old songs. And you'd be like, you feel the groovy, you feel the soul in the music, and you'd be singing along. And so they're kind of the things I grew up
You're
on.
lucky, girl.
Listen.
You're lucky you even have secular music playing at your house. You know, the good stuff. Some of us don't.
My dad loved his music. He really did. He had a good collection. I was very grateful for his kind of the sounds. And he loved classical music. He also loved
Oh,
classical music, so he'd play it in the car.
that's a rich experience, a rich
Yeah,
musical exposure.
yeah.
Very,
And
very nice.
so I was very grateful for like the stuff that my dad would listen to.
Yeah.
And then he would buy these like subscription track back in the day. These little subscription CDs with like every month they would send you like a different mix of like
Yeah.
songs. And it would go from like Bananarama to like Stevie Wonder to like,
Okay.
do you know what I mean? Like, and I would sit and listen to all these songs and learn them inside out.
Oh,
'Cause back
you
in the
are
day,
so lucky.
we didn't have iPods and iPads and all these things.
I get
We
it.
had the
I
radio.
get it.
Okay.
Some of us have to wait till we're at a certain age to be exposed to Stevie Wonder and, you know, all the
Wow.
Michael Jackson. Like for me, it
Yeah.
was late, you know, when I can make
Wow.
decisions as an adult, you know, that's late. But so who did you gravitate towards? What musical artists did you gravitate towards as you were older?
So I had a kind of foundation with Whitney Houston. She was
Yeah.
the person, you know.
Good answer.
Just Whitney, like didn't care about anyone
Good
else.
answer, Lyanna.
Come on, Whitney Houston was it.
Yes, she was.
But as a female, she was what I went after. And then as I went to high school, you know, you get exposed to pop and different things, but I really was. I have a very eclectic sound, so I was drawn to anything that was really exciting to listen. Anything that was that wasn't easy. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm like I want to hear.
You want to challenge yourself.
Like jazz.
Yeah.
Challenge myself. So jazz became something I was drawn to.
Yeah.
And I went through this whole season of like Nina Simone, Ella Fitzgerald.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
I was,
Yes.
I was obsessed.
Big names.
And I was like,
big
what?
names.
Yeah. Like scatting, you know?
Can you scat, by the
What
way?
is that?
Can you?
Yeah, a little bit. Haven't done it
Oh
for a
my
while,
gosh.
but let's go. But I would like, you know, obsess over these artists and be like, why did they pick these intervals? Why did they why did they go there, you know, or how are they moving through their registration like that? Like I was like so obsessed. And then as I went to college and university, I studied jazz voice in a popular music degree course. And so I got even deeper with that.
Yeah. If you studied
that
in college, you would definitely go deeper.
Yeah, 100%.
Than the regular person.
Then I veered towards like neo soul music. So then you've got the, like
that's
Jill
good too.
Scott.
That's good too. Jill Scott.
Erykah Badu.
Yes.
All those cats. And I'm like, there's so much to learn and so much to do. So I was just freaking out all the time listening to like Jill Scott was another. So Whitney was the first. She was the first. And then I went through my whole jazz era, and then I went through my whole neo soul era. So like India Arie. Who else did I used to listen to?
She's really good too, India Arie.
What's that girl's name? I can't remember it now. Her dad, Ravi Shankar is her dad.
Who's her dad? Which one?
Ravi Shankar.
Oh no, I don't know.
She's really popular. It's gonna come to me in the middle of this.
All right.
Watch. While I'm talking, it's gonna be like,
yes.
So she I think she's Anglo-Indian or half Indian, half white.
Nora Jones?
Nora Jones.
Okay.
I was obsessed. I was like, what's this? Something so smooth about her sound.
Yes.
And then
she had her own sound.
Oh, just wonderful.
I've never heard of anyone sounding like that before she came on. So that says something about her.
And then hardcore into gospel music, even more so. So like the Kimberells of this world.
Yes, Kimberell. Yes.
When I heard her music, I was obsessed. I was like,
she's crazy. She's not human. That's what I'm gonna say. Like how?
Guys who are listening right now, okay? If you don't know about Kimberell and you're into singing, just type in Kimberell to YouTube. Yes. See how you feel about her afterwards. Yeah. Because
come back to us after that.
Honestly, Kimberell will just sing your socks off, man. Just your socks will come off.
Hey, Jordan.
And you'd have Jordan.
We're talking about Kimberell.
talking about Kimberell, gosh. She'd be falling down the flight of stairs while singing. Come on.
Yes, and it would be music. We'll take that into her track.
Just 100%. Like one of the most challenging, even to this day, there's a couple of songs I still can't do it because it's just extraordinary.
Yeah.
But ultimately, that's kind of the journey I went through, listening to different sounds.
Yes.
And I would obsess about things. So I'd listen to it over and over and over and over again and try to emulate, copy it.
Which is a great way to start, because I usually thought, like, is this weird, me trying to copy? It's actually learning it.
Yeah. And like ad-libbing, for example, and riffing, I wasn't naturally good at that, you know, until, so I started listening to Mariah Carey stuff, and I would like take a section of what she would do and then just master that.
Yes.
Then once I'd mastered that, I'd see if I can alter a few
you're letting out secrets. You're letting out secrets. I'm like, I do that too.
And he'd be like, whatever it is. Sorry, that wasn't.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
But you know, you would take chunks of like, and then my ad libs started getting weird because I was taking like jazz bits. As well.
Yeah, jazz ad libs would be a different turn all of a sudden, you know.
Or like, you know, trying to scat and ad lib at the same time, and it was such a beautiful time because it was like I was forming who I what my tone was, my voice was, that my vocal identity I was kind of forming in those years. So
so good. So I don't think you'll have a musical hero then, because it's just a wide range of people that you listen to, you look up to, and you just continue being a student to these, you know, musical geniuses. Okay, that's awesome. I love that. Have a huge musical catalog. We're not limited to one genre. We are constant learners of the different, you know, other genres out there. Musicologists, right? So,
ooh, I like that.
Yes. Would you say you are a more extroverted kind of singer or an introverted kind of singer?
I think,
because I think this is fascinating.
This is fascinating.
Not everyone who is like, yes, on the stage feels comfortable doing that on the stage, you know, in the spotlight and all those things.
I think that I used to be an introverted singer, but the more I put myself in the fire, I shifted. So now, when I'm asked to do a solo, I'm not thinking about like, oh, am I nervous? I'm thinking about what can I do? Like, how creative can I be, you know? Rather than like perform, like I'm going to perform. It just comes naturally. But initially, you know, I remember doing solos when I was younger and just being like, I'll never forget it. I was in a choir and this girl got the main solo, but then she didn't turn up. But I had learned everything. And the choir master knew that I knew everything. So she was like, Lyanna, you know, she was time to step up and take it. And I was like, I was so nervous, and I knew, like, I did well, but I knew afterwards, like, I was like, that wasn't me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I knew I was holding back, and I remember being like, don't hold back, give everything everything as you push through, and what I found for myself is, the more I performed, the more I found my voice. I found what I couldn't do very well and what I could do very well. So I've definitely
and to actually feel okay with it, right? To actually feel comfortable doing it.
100%. And so now I feel really comfortable. I would say I was an extroverted singer. I enjoy making really big, loud sounds. And exploring my range. Not just in note, but in volume as well. So, yeah.
Oh, I love it. So cool. Do you have any singing life hacks? Singing hacks? That are not necessarily conventional, but, you know, it helps you.
I think the greatest life hack that I can give a singer is understand your vocal folds. Like understand.
Explain vocal folds
Okay, so
to layman terms.
it's basically where your voice box is. For sound to be
Okay.
created, there's two thin muscles that vibrate together.
Yeah.
That's your vocal folds. It's kind of hosted in the larynx here.
Yeah.
And when
Vocal
you
teacher,
breathe,
everyone.
vocal teacher here, come on.
Yes.
So when you breathe in and then release the sound, it rubs the sound, the air rubs against these vocal folds. And depending on how tight they are or how relaxed they are, they create different frequencies and pitch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you know, if I drink too much coffee or tea, things that are going to dehydrate me, I know, if I'm going to sing the day before, I have to drink a ton of water, or I have to be aware.
Okay.
And I think what people don't realize is they don't know what their vocal folds need.
Yes.
So
would you say every person's vocal folds have different needs?
Yes.
Or react differently to different, whether it's tea, coffee, milk, they react differently to different substances. Not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Food
So
and drinks like that.
So some people say, like, have ginger tea with honey or something. But I know ginger makes me, it feels hoarse for me. I feel like it's abrasive for me. So I'll drink something like mint tea. Where mint tea might not work for some people, they'll feel like it dries them out. So every single person has a different routine. And I'm a keen believer in especially with like vocal methods and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's not one method that works for all. And so you've really got to do the work to understand, when I drink coffee, my voice, I just experiment with things. Because I think people think, if I do something real quick, it's just going to be this magic, like, if I drink throat coat, then boom, like everything is good with the world. You know what I mean?
Throat coat is a kind of tea here in the US.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they don't have it in the UK either.
Yeah.
It's good though, I like it.
I tried it, I didn't like it.
You didn't like it? But some people they take vocal zones or whatever, product they feel, or steaming, whatever it is that helps them. And so just understanding like when I wake up in the morning, I have to drink a ton of water, or I have to do certain things to help my vocal folds feel good, so that when I sing, it gets the best out of me when I'm singing.
Yeah, I like that. So knowing your vocal folds, knowing what works for you.
Yeah.
Trying, 100%. Different things and sticking to the things that really do help your vocal cords. Taking care of it, being very intentional with your vocal cords. Yeah,
and
that's
it feels like
good.
It's not a hack. Ooh, hold on.
It feels like it's not a hack.
It feels like it's not a hack, but it is, because as soon as you just tap into that, then you're like, so for me, I take lozenges. I put a lozenge in before I sing. Some people can't do that.
Yeah.
So
I put Ricola or, cough drops before I sing. It works. So not everything works for this vocal fold.
Yeah. Not everything is prescriptive,
Yes. Yeah. Correct. Awesome. We're going to take a break. We're going to do some recommendation. Recommending resources of things that you've been recently watching, listening, eating, wearing, just anything you've been imbibing yourself with that you would love to recommend. Those who are tuning in, those who are watching, we would just love to know, what are you reading? What are you listening to?
I think that right now I am listening to lots of instrumental music. Okay. I don't know if this fits in.
Do you have any particular artists that you're listening to?
Yeah, I mean, for me, Snarky Puppy is the winner of all time.
Okay, yes.
But I like to listen to, for where I'm at right now, I like to listen to instrumental music because I feel like the instruments can also help with your singing. So, for example, I listen to saxophone music a lot because then it helps me with riffs. It helps me with ideas. And I've got a friend who's been doing some stuff in the UK. My friend Jake, and I remember him saying once, this guy Jake Isaac, go check him out, he's amazing. But like I remember him saying, like, listen to a ton of music, like find inspiration
Yes.
from music that you don't normally listen to,
Yeah.
and listen to the stories that you can feel in the music too. And I'm like, that's amazing. So when I listen to, you know, like Snarky Puppy or something like that, I'm like, I feel like I'm transported to another world. Or like Jacob Collier, for example.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Like, you know, he's got all these tracks, and you're like,
Yeah.
you could feel the different worlds he's taking you
Mm-hmm.
to. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, that inspires me, not just in my own being, but also for singing as well. Because it's like
Yeah.
different intervals
Yeah.
require, you know, you have to understand, like, you know, your scales really well. So I'm like, oh,
Yes.
this song is in a
Yes.
minor scale, you know, so it helps
Yes.
me to get inspired for songwriting. It helps me to get
Yeah.
inspired
Yeah.
for creating melodies and riffs and
Yeah.
ad-libs and things like that.
Yeah. That's really good. I was just gonna say, like, did you listen to Dirty Loops Next to You?
Oh,
I'm
hold on.
late to this discovery of this
Who?
Dirty Loops. Dirty Loops.
Oh, Dirty Lips, of
Yeah.
course.
They
My
have
goodness.
you listened to Next to You?
I think so. Hold on.
It's so good. Like I can't
Is it
believe
new?
it. It's new. I think it was either 2020 or 2019, yeah. No, 2019. It's 2019.
Yeah.
Next to You. And this bridge, the bridge suddenly transports you to church. It's so
Ooh. I need
it's
to
like
check that out.
yes, you need to check that out because it's like, oh, we're going to church.
Mm.
Like we're going to church with the whole choir and the chorus are now gospel chorus. Like
Yeah.
it is just amazing. So Dirty Loose Next to You. If you haven't listened to it, check it out because it's really cool. And another thing that I would love to recommend. Well, I just saw this like a couple of days ago. I don't know if you are into WandaVision.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, okay. So I saw the making of. It's on Disney Plus too. So you can
Ooh.
watch the making of. And I
Mm-hmm.
am a big fan of the nostalgic, black and white movies or, stuff from the 40s and the 50s. And so when TV show was just, beginning, Dick Van Dyke show, it was,
Yeah.
the black and white TV show. And so WandaVision was inspired by, TV shows by the decade. And so
Yeah.
for the 50s, they studied Dick Van Dyke show. And so I just thought, just from watching the making, that they did their research. They met with Dick Van Dyke for lunch and studied about how those TV sets were, how those TV shows were run. It was basically a theater show
Mm.
every time they film it. And then with the, remember when was it furnitures or kitchen tools are all flying?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And
yeah.
then they explain how they did it in the 50s. They would put string, across the room. And it's just, to me, I thought that was so interesting. And I love that they kept the authenticity,
Yeah.
to the way they, and I love production. I'm a huge production
Yeah.
fan. So
He is.
I love how they researched their material and executed the way they did it in the
Yeah.
50s,
Yeah.
So I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I really
I love that.
recommend you watching the behind the scenes of
And I like
WandaVision.
behind the scenes. I'm surprised I didn't catch on to that.
Yes, you would like it.
I would.
Another thing I would recommend is jumping on trampolines.
Guys, guys,
Yes.
guys. We went to this trampoline park, okay?
Yes, we did.
On,
We
I don't
did.
even know what day it was. Thursday?
Yes, it was a Thursday last week, a few
This is
days
how
ago.
old I'm getting, okay, guys? I couldn't walk the next day. I had no
Yes.
ability to walk. That is wild to me.
When was the last time you jumped on a trampoline, people? When was the last time? Go find a trampoline, jump up and down, and
Enjoy that.
go to town with
Find a bunch of people and go play dodgeball and see how you feel afterwards. No, it was so fun. It was the best. It was the best time.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so back to our singing conversation. Are there any pet peeves when it comes to the industry, singing, musicianship, recording. The reason I ask this is because to get a fuller picture of you, getting to know you, we want to know what you like and what you don't like, what you're not a big fan of. So what are some pet peeves that you've experienced that this is the ultimate pet peeve for you?
I think for me is, I don't know, I've grown up knowing the industry. And I feel like the competition thing is so
Yes, talk about it.
it's so demoralizing. Like,
Yeah.
it's either you thrive or you don't thrive.
Yeah.
But when you're marinated in competition, it stops you from celebrating people, and it stops you from celebrating yourself.
Oh,
So all
my
you're thinking about
goodness.
is,
Yes.
what's the next gig? How can I, how am I going to get this thing? And you actually don't get to celebrate even your failures. Like, now I'm like, I wish that I'd had not been so driven by the way the industry kind of it sucks you in and spits you out, basically, because it's all based on, like, are you the new thing or you're not the new thing?
Yes.
And actually, you can't be at peace as an artist because you're constantly having to morph, change, and then also, especially like in the church environment, you get praised, but at the same time, because you're competing, you're not thriving. You're not actually being still and whole with your artistry.
Yes. Oh, so good.
And so that's my pet peeve, is I wish we'd honestly celebrate people more, and not be insecure about, because I was so insecure about my voice for so long.
Yeah.
And I would get like, oh, I can't sing. Like, I can sing high, but I don't thrive in the higher range.
Yes.
I don't float beautifully up there. I'm more richer, soulful, sultry tones.
Yeah.
And I would get I'd beat myself up so much for the fact that I couldn't do all this beautiful, riffs up here, and or move fluidly between those notes.
Yeah.
And I'd have friends that would do it and just be like, okay, you're better than me, And instead of it being, you're better than me, it should be, oh my goodness, look at your artistry. Look at what you're capable of. Look at what I'm capable of. Then you take the pressure off, and you can just, you can be friends with people. I remember.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh my gosh,
yes to that, please.
Like, you'd be like friends with them, but inside you're like, no, talking behind people's back, like, oh, this people sings that, she's that, she's pitchy, she's this, he's that, oh, he's not good to work with, blah blah, all this stuff, and it's like, you don't actually get to enjoy people's artistry, and that for me is a real huge pet peeve, but also huge revelation for me.
Yeah.
In how am I going to change that? What am I going to do to position myself to celebrate my voice and my tone, and to celebrate others?
Yeah, I love that you said experiencing that person, the full artistry of that person. Like, if we're insecure with our gifting, like, we won't push ourselves, to 100%. And you wouldn't even be, I don't think you'll feel secure to push yourself 100% in front of people, because you're busy comparing, you're busy doing all these other things. But if you're settled, if you're settled with who you are, and not having to, how is this person sounding, or I need to up this person or up that person,
Yes.
I love that you said our whole artistry actually depends on this as well. Yeah. The way that people can enjoy you, the way that people can be friends with the version of this yourself that you present to people, Yeah. And I think that's so important. And my passion is, every artist I meet, every singer I meet, like, this is the message that I bring. Like, I am not competing with you, and I want to celebrate you.
Yeah.
I will do everything I can to celebrate you, because, like they say here in, what we learn at ministry school, like, your bigness doesn't have to come at the expense of my bigness,
Ooh,
your greatness doesn't have to come at the expense of my dreams. And, it's like I can purely support you because you're doing an awesome job,
Yeah.
and I'm supporting you. So
Yeah.
yes, and yes to that message. We love celebrating people. Celebrating other people doesn't mean we're diminishing ourselves, because it's not related.
Yeah.
We are fully independent. We're whole. We're
Yeah.
settled and whole by ourselves, and so then we can support other people. So I
Yeah.
think that's so good. Thanks for that, Lyanna. I
No
really
problem.
really like that one. So something
Good.
more light, on a lighter side.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any funny singing moments or embarrassing singing moments that you feel comfortable disclosing throughout your journey in the industry or with singing?
Um.
Have you ever woke
Uh.
up late or not show up or
No. I think.
slept through the alarm?
Oh yeah, I've done that a couple of times.
Okay. So that's not embarrassing for you.
No, there's one time where I was a bit too overconfident. Let's just say that.
Okay.
Where I was doing a function gig. Because sometimes, guys, when you do function gigs, you kind of already know the songs. So you got like function gigs are basically just like you turn up to a place where you haven't played with these musicians before, but you've been given, a song list
Yeah.
beforehand
Yeah.
and lyrics and things like that. And then
Mm-hmm.
you turn up and you just do the whole show, whatever.
Yeah.
And so it requires a level of preparation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I saw the set list, like, yeah, I know this song's amazing.
Where is this going?
So I get up, I get there, I don't know these people. My mind goes, I'm like singing a song, and they say like, oh, you can't have the paper, like you can't have the iPad up there, like you can't have.
Oh no. No, 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 no.
Guys, one of my failures in singing is lyrics just fly out my head. Like
Oh
I
goodness.
used to
What
be
did you
great when I was
do?
younger, but now I'm like, bro,
What did you do?
I just made stuff up. Like
Oh my
I just
gosh.
made up my own lyrics to like. And the thing is with function gigs, it's all songs people know. So like,
Okay.
you can't change the words to very superstitious. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
you can't. Like, so
Very
I'm just like
superstitious.
songwriting on the spot. And then there was this whole section where like I completely went blank, and I would just like ad lib on top of like a whole section,
Oh
or
my
like I
goodness.
called the wrong part and the band went
Oh,
in the
you
wrong
know
section.
what you did? You know what you did? Patti LaBelle. You Patti LaBelle that
I
this
just said
Christmas song.
yeah. I said yes. Ah! I just sang my
He
way
just went,
through.
ooh. He just
I did some scat. I was like, made it all interesting. I got really creative. But afterwards,
Yes.
the people were like, "Oh my gosh!" Like
Yep. You
they were
ninja
like,
the heck out of
"How
that
did you
situation.
how did you do that?" And I'm like, "That is called fear. That is called
Mm-hmm.
motivated by fear." So, guys, preparation is really important because
Oh
for
my
me, my weak
gosh.
point is lyrics. Like lyrics fly out my head. Like
Okay, like
so.
for a figure, what was that? A function
Mhm. It's a function
gig.
gig.
How many songs were you supposed to have memorized?
Um, it could be
Was
like
it a
20
decent amount?
songs. Yeah, it could be
20?
20. Yeah.
They expected you to memorize 20 songs.
Yeah, but because they're function songs, they're songs you should already
Yeah.
know already. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
okay.
um, like stuff like "Isn't she lovely?" That kind of stuff. Like these
Yeah.
old songs, you
I
should
don't
already know
remember
them.
all the words to all of them.
So they're like, "No iPads," and I'm like, "Oh no!"
Oh, Lordy.
Just
Wow.
pure fear, pure improvisation, and
You
and
did
in
it
those
though.
moments, I tend to either sink or swim. Like
Yeah.
I tend to either like just pull it out of the bag or like just die, like
Yeah. Just,
die. So
oh my
that was
goodness.
a really bad like
Oh my gosh. All
bad
right. So, from all of your experiences, can you describe a huge learning moment for you?
um I think for me is comparison. choosing not to get to compare my voice to other people.
Yeah. Did it change the game for you once you
Yeah,
stopped comparing?
100%. Like I had been songwriting for such a long time, and
Hey,
I'd
Tim.
record things and
It's my
like,
little brother.
oh, hello. I'd been recording and like listening back and just whoa, like really not liking what I was hearing, but I knew I was called to do it and just pushing through all those things. And I remember because actually it was one of the times where in first year on this ministry school that we're at, when I didn't get into the teams, worship teams.
Yeah.
And I remember being really like, why? Like, is it
Oof.
because of the voice? Like, is it because it doesn't sound like how they sound in worship and
Yeah.
stuff?
And that could be the reason.
Yeah, 100%.
It was a legit reason that
Yeah,
they had.
yeah,
It didn't have the sound that they want.
yeah. And for me, that really heightened or triggered that comparison thing.
Yeah.
Because I became very suspicious. But
Yeah.
what happened was, I'll never forget it. Like I was in one of the worship sets, and this girl, I was like, you know what? I don't mind not being accepted to this thing, but they better be able to sing. That was my attitude. Like,
Yeah.
they better bring it. I don't want to see no one dropping off. I don't want to see no one going out of tune. I don't want to see it, right?
Okay.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. And so I'm coming in with this attitude, like ready to take everybody on. And I'll never forget this girl. I think it was actually, I won't say who it was, but she sang this note and missed the note, missed the note.
Yeah.
She fell off the note like she fell off the cliff. It was crazy.
It's real.
And it happens, guys. It happens. And I'll never forget. I was like, for real. Like, I was getting mad. And I was like,
They took her.
why?
They accepted that girl.
This girl is singing off. And I just got so mad. I was like, there's people in this room that can sing better than this bro. And I'm like,
that are professionals, that are,
big argument
recording
with myself.
artists.
Yeah, big argument with myself, big argument with God, and just being like, I don't understand why this place is like blah blah. So I'm having this conversation, and then I'll never forget it. So, as I always allow God into these moments, in these conversations, and I was verbally processing with the Lord.
Yeah,
and He was like, "So, can you celebrate her though?" And I was like, "Celebrate her," and I was like, "No, I'm not going to celebrate her. What's that?" Like, getting all mad. And he asked me again. He's like, "Can you celebrate her?" And I was like, "No." And I had to question myself. I was like, "Why can't I say?" Like, I could feel it in my body. Like I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then the Lord said to me, like, the reason why you can't celebrate her is because you're marinated in comparison and competition.
Yeah.
And because you're marinated in that, you can't actually see what's inside of you. So therefore, you cannot see what is inside of other people.
Other people, yeah.
And then I literally broke down, and I was like, oh my, like, it was like my mind went, and slowly, just, I felt like I was in recovery for my own sound, recovery for songwriting, recovery for like I started listening to my old songs again with different ears. So interesting. And I was like not comparing myself to my friends, because I've got a lot of friends that are like in the industry and are doing really, really well. And I'm like, oh, I'm not doing what they're doing. I should be doing what they're doing. And that's the high excellence and all this stuff. And it's like, or seeing my friends like with high streaming numbers, you know, and you're like, oh my gosh, you're doing so well. I'm not doing that well. And the Lord was just like, I just want you to do your artistry. I just want you to be you, create beautiful things, create beautiful songs, and just release what you have inside of you.
And stay the course, because that's the lane that He has, assigned to you, entrusted to you.
Yeah. Now I'm like, what's my lane? Like, what's my sound? And I'm instead of being like, what sound do I need to be? To win. Now I'm like, oh no, I've got to craft my sound right now. I've got to craft my songs. I've got to explore all this stuff that I love exploring in music. Like, I've got to explore that within my own sound. And And I don't think, I think for Lyanna Austin, I don't ever think I'm going to be there. Like, I think what I've got
Yes, we
inside of
won't
me is so,
graduate.
you know what I mean? It's so eclectic. It's
Yeah,
so, it's moving all the time. And so
yeah,
I feel like the Lord's given me something where I get to go, I want to tap into this genre. I want to tap into this
yeah,
genre. So instead of
yeah.
putting a cap on myself as though I've made it,
Yes,
my
yes,
journey is I'm making it. Does that make
yeah,
sense?
yes. It does
Yeah.
make sense. I love
hmm
that. So good. Other than comparison, are there any other insecurities that you've had to overcome?
Um,
So
I think,
comparison, and also you said mention briefly about loving your voice.
yeah. So I think for me, the hardest thing I'll never forget when I wrote a little album when I was 18, when I came out. It was like
Oh.
18? No, 20 or something, when I finished university. And
Mm-hmm.
I was able to do this really big gig with some of my friends, and I'll never forget, I couldn't handle the praise. I couldn't handle it. And I'll
Oh,
never
yeah.
forget,
Okay. You
I
couldn't
saw
receive
how
it.
I couldn't receive it, and
Mm-hmm.
I I felt like I did the gig and it wasn't very good.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, I was standing where you have to sell the CDs. That is
Ooh.
one. That's those two things: praise and selling my own,
Yeah. Self
promoting my own
promotion.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Horrendous. Like
Yeah.
I'm still horrendous at it. I hate
Yeah.
having to do posts about my songs.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
I cannot, I cannot stand it. And I
Yeah.
remember standing behind this table with my CDs, and then this other band were playing too, and all these people went to that table,
Yeah.
and not only a few people came to mine.
Yes.
And I remember, like, one of my friends was there, and I had a meltdown. Like, I hid underneath the table. Never lie, not lying. I hid underneath the
Oh,
table, and I was crying, and I was like,
Lyanna.
I can't do this. Like, the pressure is too much. Like,
Yeah.
I can't handle like all these people going to them, and
Yeah.
like one or two people coming to me, because I was comparing,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and not.
It never ends if you do that.
And it takes a level of gutsiness to and perseverance to push through, knowing that, like, I don't need to win everybody's affection. I don't need to
Yes.
win everybody's ears. I
Yes.
just need to stick with my own thing and stay in my own lane and
Yeah.
find my tribe. And that's the journey that I'm on, is to find those that are willing and wanting to hear it and wanting to invest in it.
Yeah.
Find my
Yeah.
tribe, because I can't take on someone else's artistry, because I won't be able to sustain it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
for me, that was one of the hardest things to do, is to go, let me talk about my music,
Mm-hmm.
let me promote my songs.
Yeah.
I think I had a big shift last year, and I put out just a few songs that were acoustic thing.
Yeah.
And
The
I was
North, the True North, right?
True North, yeah.
True
It was
North.
really,
Check it
really
out, by
like,
the way. Lyanna Austin, True North. Yep.
check it out. Um, just like a really simple studio recording, like just guitar and keys, like really, really simple,
Yeah.
and a
Yeah.
few of my friends
Very
singing.
simple. Yeah.
So simple. Um, but I made an active kind of decision to be like, I'm going to promote this thing. Like, I'm going to spend 4, 5 solid weeks. Like, I'm going to make a music video. I'm going to do these things. I'm going to,
Yes.
because normally this is the process that happens to me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I get so excited about the creation of it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like loving the process,
Yeah.
loving the studio time, loving writing songs,
Yeah.
all the stuff. It's
But
finished.
the selling,
Oh,
it's a business.
it's a business, guys. It's a business.
You need
And
to sell your merchandise.
the system that's set right now is, you've got to be a marketer, you've got to be a promoter, you've got to be all things to man,
Mm-hmm.
to get
Mm-hmm.
this stuff out there. And soon as it gets past the, like, I've done the photos, done all the stuff, created the product, that's when I lose all hope in the product itself. I'm happy
Mm.
up until that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I doubt myself, and I'm like, Lyanna, what was you thinking? Why did you pick those chords in that songwriting?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
double back on everything that I've done. And
Mm-hmm.
so this time around, I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna really celebrate this creation, and I'm gonna promote it as best as I can. And I
Yeah.
had cheerleaders behind me because I knew that it was going to be tough for me.
Yes.
Just things like that.
What was the shift for you?
Um, I think I was like tired of doing it the old way.
Okay.
And I could see the pattern, and I knew what God had done in my heart. He woke me
Mm-hmm.
up to who I was, that I had value, and I was worthy,
Yes.
to produce something beautiful and great.
Yeah.
And that because my mindset was like, oh, it's not great. Like it has to become great rather than
Yeah.
like just singing. Just the fact that I create, like I came up with something.
Yeah. You created
It's
something. Yeah.
yeah, it's beautiful,
Yeah.
And I listen back to the songs and I weep because I'm like, oh, I hear it in my voice. Interesting, isn't it? It's so
Mm.
interesting when you really believe in yourself, or when you allow yourself to process something.
Yeah.
It actually translates in your singing.
Yeah.
And so
Wow.
because I had that, was building on that confidence, I could hear it. So when I listen back now, and when
Mm-hmm.
I listen to those long notes that I was singing, it's all purposeful, all I could feel
Yeah.
the purpose. I could
Yeah. Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
it's like a time capsule. Like I can feel what I was actually feeling in that moment.
So good.
Um, and so for me, I want to keep pushing, I want to keep creating
Yeah.
and allowing that shift to develop, because I still think I'm not there. We're currently trying to raise funds for me at school, and it's like, it's
Yeah.
painful,
Yeah.
painful,
Yes. Yes.
because I've
Yes.
got
Yes.
all these
Yes.
people believing in me, and I have to believe in myself just as much as
Come on,
they
Lyanna.
do, and I have to go, okay, let me, I like, because my whole thing is like, will I fail?
Mm-hmm.
And will
Mm-hmm.
I fail everybody that's got behind me on this project this time?
Yeah.
Um, and my friend was like, well, what's failure with this?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what does failure look like? And I'm like,
Exactly.
oh, they were like, Lyanna, we wouldn't invest in you if we didn't believe that you could actually do
Yes.
something.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so I'm
Yes.
like, oh, okay, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And I'm like, I think also as an independent artist, it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's so
Mm-hmm.
tough um to do it on your own, and to not, and especially because I'm a 3 in the Enneagram. This is freaking me out, because if I don't do well, it's going to affect my worth. That's how I'm thinking. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this has to be a success. Like, because I've
Yeah.
got the whole school cheering me on,
But like
watching
that's
me.
exactly the question. Like what is success and what is failure?
Yeah, yeah,
Because the just that you release it out there is already that's it.
yeah,
You know, that is
100%.
success for us. That is us launching you into you doing what God has crafted you to
Yeah,
do.
and that's been a journey. That's been a journey. Like, just trusting God to work with me in the process.
Mm-hmm.
To work with, like, worth, value, and even just people investing in me is just like, wow, like,
Yes.
it's
Look at all the
amazing.
support you have.
I know, and I honestly thought, oh, no one would want to
Yeah.
put money where their
Yeah.
mouth is
Yeah.
towards me. I was like, oh, give it to Fina, give it to someone else, give it to, like, there's so many amazing artists,
Girl,
on our course. Like,
why?
why, you know, and actually just being like,
Why
oh
you?
no,
Because you need to believe in yourself, right? And you have a voice, you
yeah,
have a message that you need. I can't do
mm,
it. My messages or my voice is different. But
yeah,
because God has placed you there and He has purposed
mm,
you and He has all these people, supporting you, then there's something that you have that needs
yeah.
to be released.
Come
So,
on,
yes,
Fina.
other people can't do it for you.
So this is the journey,
Other
guys.
people
I'm
can do it
still
in your
learning.
place. Yeah.
Hmm. That's it right there.
So, how does your faith play a role in singing? Because obviously you talked about there's this moment of shift where you address identity stuff.
Hmm.
You settled, you got settled here,
Mm, hmm.
and then that's when
Yeah.
you're, ready to launch. ready to
Yeah.
celebrate, ready to launch yourself as well. So
Yeah.
what was that like for you? Like what part of the identity that was really established?
I think God is really important. Like the conversation he's having towards me
Yeah.
in creativity, because it's an extension of you,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so he's saying that, Lyanna, what you do is good.
Oh,
So
it
you are
is.
good. You know what I mean? Like,
It
you
is.
are not
It's
bad.
Genesis, y'all. Genesis 1. It is good.
Yeah. And I remember, I don't know if anyone's watched this, if you haven't already, but there's a thing called The Chosen. It's like a kind of, I think it's on an
It's a
app or on YouTube.
series. Yeah.
It's a
It's an
series of
app.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just kind of telling some of the stories of
Yeah.
parables. But it's a new film that you can watch. It's great. And there was this section in the film where Jesus is made he's a carpenter, so he made this little toy, and he looks at it and he goes, "It is good." And
Yeah.
I start crying like a baby because he was proud of what he made.
Yes.
He was
Yes.
proud, like the way he looked at it, he was like, "Oh, this is good." And I
Yeah.
just was like, I don't do that to myself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I had a real identity moment. Like,
Yeah.
Lyanna, when you do things, you need to celebrate yourself just as much as you do others for other
Oh, so
people.
good.
Because I am good. Do you mean like my being is good? I'm not trash. I'm not
Yeah.
leftovers. I'm not like waste. I'm pure and I'm good. So anything I put my hand to
It's
is
gonna be
going to be
good.
good.
Yeah.
And so I had that kind of identity shift of the purity and the goodness of who I am,
Oh,
rather
wow.
than like creating things of failure, broken things. And it's like, that was such a
Yeah.
lie.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
Lord really healed me in that. It's good.
Yeah. Oh, so good. So to close us out, Lyanna, what would you tell your 20-year-old self? Not in like
Ooh.
in a regretful kind of way, but
Okay,
just
okay.
to encourage yourself. If you can encourage your 20-year-old self, what would you
Wow.
have said? What would you say?
Just not to compare. Don't compare and don't compete. You don't have to fight for your place. You don't have to fight for your sound. Your
Yes.
sound will speak
Yes.
for you. Your sound will create space for you if you believe in it, if you partner with it. So
Yes.
that's what I would tell my 20-year-old self. And be like,
Oh,
write
so
loads of
good.
songs, write every day, write songs, write poems, write it, do it, do it. Don't stop, keep going.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So
Listen,
good.
so many songs that have come in and out because I didn't take the time to steward them. And I wish I'd done
Yeah.
that. I wish I'd
Yeah.
stewarded my songs more.
Well, the beauty of it is that you are still
Yeah.
in it. You're still doing it. So we're not stopping. You're not stopping. So
Come
you can
on.
always sit down, with a notepad and pen and
Yeah.
off you go, right?
Yeah.
So, Lyanna, thank you so much for
Oh,
sitting with
thank
me and
you.
just chatting through your journey and so much wisdom too from today's episode. Yes, it's been really fun. Folks, if you haven't already listened to Lyanna's music, you need to check it out. True North is your latest one as of now, right?
Yeah, so that's the latest
Yes,
EP.
that's the latest one. But she is cooking something. She is busy in the kitchen, right? You are
Yeah.
making songs, producing songs, and it's going to be amazing because once she's going to launch this, she has a whole village that is behind her and like is celebrating her. I
Come
see it
on.
kind of like a like a big cruise ship right before it embarks. They crash the little champagne bottle on it and the whole crowd is
Yes.
there. That's what I see. I see that big ship is your music, and then we're all there cheering for you, and then you're gonna hold this little bottle thing and like crack it on
Come
the ship and like
on. I
watch
love
it
that.
watch it depart. Like, oh, and we're like clapping, and it's such a celebration,
Oh, I love that.
just to see you launch. So, Lyanna, I'm so excited for you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
chatting with me.
Of
Everybody,
course.
thanks for tuning in. I'm gonna put this up and make sure we have all the recommendations, all the information you need on this video. So thanks everyone for
Yes.
tuning in. Until next time, and have a good night.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye, Lyanna.
Bye. Bye, Tina.